So yesterday we have discussed how the literature review can help us in engaging our qualitative research. So the next thing that we need to understand is basically the step number 3, and that is the argument building, or in short word, it is also known as argumentation. Argumentation is a technique where you support your point of view from the past research. If you see the picture here, the literature review steps here, you can use the past studies to build your own argument. For example, I would like to use a particular variable in order to provide justification that it is related to a particular scenario. Then I need to have some support from the past literature to build my own argument. So let's suppose, for your understanding, let's suppose I would like to open up Word file like this, and I will build a simple argument. Always remember that an argument has two components. The first component is called premise, and the second component is called basically conclusion. In our case, the premise is basically findings from and on the basis of this premise, we can conclude something. For example, I want to conclude that financial stability is a measure of sustainable performance. This is my argument. This is my claim. I want to claim that the measure that we use for financial stability is actually a sustainable performance measure. So how can I prove this claim? I need to have some premise from the past literature. So let's suppose uh, you may have more than one premise, premise one, premise two, and so on. So how many evidence do you have to support your argument? You can create your argument. So let's suppose I do have a premise from a study, which I call it as a premise one, uh, from a researcher. According to a sheet 2010, sustainable long-term performance. Now, this is what I find from some previous study. Now, I find another premise, premise 2, from another study. Similarly, similarly, the long-term is referred to as according to, for example, the where 2012. Similarly, I may have chemistry from another study. Furthermore, furthermore, uh, John 2020 argued that stability ensures long-term performance of an entity. Now, I have three premises. First premises says that from a study, from according to a researcher, sustainable performance is a long-term performance. Another premise is from another study that long-term performance is sustainable performance. Then third performance is from John. he argued that stability ensure long-term performance of an entity. So what I can conclude here, what would be my conclusion? Therefore, financial stability is a measure of sustainability. This has become an argument, right? So you have seen that the first three parts are premises which are supported by previous literature. So in this case, you can see whatever we do in step number 2 also support in the development of an argument. I hope you understand how you can develop an argument. So this is what I was concluding from the previous one. So this has become my argument. So I can arrange it this as a argument. Uh, Financial stability is actually sustainable performance. According to a sheet 2010, I can copy this here with a comma like this. Similarly, I can copy this here like this. Similarly, I can copy. So how many premises basically required which are basically ensure your argument buildup. So use as many premises as you require to build your argument. So the this is the initial statement, initial claim, which is supported by some premises, and then I conclude this claim to support or to complete my argument. So this is initial claim which I was claiming, and then I made premises in an argumentative form like this, and then I conclude like this. So this is a complete piece of an argument. So this is the way you can create an argument in your literature review. Always remember that you must have done some literature of the previous study to make your argument. So you can create any type of argument when you have studied literature. So therefore, I have used here as a step 3 to development of an argument. In the fourth step, you again consider the literature, again survey the literature, and you find some deficiencies in previous literature. So developing an argument is to argue your thesis successfully. You need to form and then present your case. To form your case, you need to arrange your claims logically. Always remember that you need to present your claims. The first line that I was presenting in my argument was the claim that I was using. So you need to present your claim logically. So here you can see at first I have presented a claim, then I provide a logic from a study. Then again, I provide another logic from another study. So it is logical that someone has explained that sustainable performance is a long-term performance. Then someone said that long-term performance is referred to sustainable performance. Then someone state that stability is actually a long-term performance. Therefore, I concluded that financial stability is a measure of sustainable performance. So whatever you include as a premise in your argument, it should be logical. It should provide a logical reasoning. This is something like you point out first of all the seed that you put into some soil. This is the first thing. Then the soil basically grow the plant, then plant becomes tree, and then tree basically grows fruit. Now this is logical basically sequence. So you can never write trees grows fruit first and then arrange the other things. So always remember that you need to have a logical sequence in your argument. So let's have another thing that we need to do here. I have discussed with you that you need to arrange your claims logically, which need to organize the relevant information. Sometimes you provide some information, some fact and figure as a body of evidence in order to make your argument. For example, let's suppose I can present another claim here. The financial institutions of developing are not aligned with the requirements of AI. Now, this is a claim that I am making that most of the financial institutions in developing nations are not aligned with modern requirement of artificial intelligence. Now, in order to prove this claim, I need to provide some premises. So let's arrange premises in the similar order, like premise one, premise, premise three. So how many premise you need to use with your argument? You should use as many as premises with your argument. You can make your argument strong. So I can again three premises. For example, one of the study says like Ali Ali 2010 stated that the developing countries have resources. Now, someone says that developing countries have lack of resources like financial resources, technical resources, etc. Now, this is someone's basically argument that I have used here. I find another study, and what does it say? Uh, Similarly, per capita GDP in developing nations is comparatively low developed economies. Therefore, therefore, they cannot afford high tax. Now, this is another claim that I have included. So let's suppose I would like to conclude uh, from these two premises. Now, therefore, developing nations, the developing nations cannot afford modern tech like AI. Now, this is conclusion which I am making. The first one says that they have lack of resources, like technical and financial. The second one says the GDP is very low in these nations, in these economies. Therefore, if you have lack of resources, if you have lack of financial resources, you cannot afford the high tech technology. Therefore, how can I make this argument? I just need to put it here in a logical order, put a reference here for the second of your premise, like for 2022. So I need to put the first reference here like this. I need to put the second reference or premise here like this. And then I need to put my conclusion here. Now it has become an argument. First line is the claim that I need to prove, and I provided uh, a lot of references in support of this claim. The second is basically the evidence from previous studies. Even you can also provide the evidence in terms of fact and figure in order to prove your claim. So always remember that in order to build an argument, you need to provide a claim and always develop the claim at the last. First, you need to develop what the previous studies are saying and what you are concluding from the previous studies. Then put a starting line to show you as your claim. So this is called argumentation. So in this case, how you have built your argument, you can provide relevant information. You can also provide fact and figure as your premises in your different claims. All right. By developing your own argument, you show that you are using the literature for your own purpose rather than being controlled by authors whose work you have read and are citing in your own writing. So this is very important. Whenever you need to develop your argument, always remember that you are using the literature for your own purpose. So always draw literature or always write literature for your own purpose. Just reading the literature is not the thing which is required by most of the publisher or most of the universities. The argumentation is basically the important thing they are requiring from you. Then an argument involves putting forward reasons to influence someone belief. You are getting someone beliefs, you are getting someone argument, and on the basis of that, you are creating your own argument. So you are putting forward reasons why your argument is just like this. So someone makes an argument mean he's attempting to convince other of the validity. It is same like you are discussing, you are arguing with someone, and he's giving you some opinion uh, for which you may agree or disagree. You may have your own opinion, he may have his own opinion. He will provide logic for his opinion, you will provide logic for your opinion. So it's a matter of the opinion with logic. So if you have a logic, it means the premise, premise one, premise two. If you have something like premises or the logics or the sequence, your arguments can be validated. So he is attempting to convince other of the validity or logic of how he or she see the universe and convince the other that they could see it the way he or she do. So argumentation means when you are looking something and you want others to look that thing in the same way. Like for example, when we discuss, there is a very renowned example of half glass. Our teacher normally discuss in the class that a glass is half filled with the water. So what you see in the glass, some people see that it is empty, it is half empty. Some will say that it is half filled. So some will say it is half empty. Some will say it is half. There is a difference of opinion. Both are right. Those who are saying it is half empty, they are right, and those who are saying it is half filled, that is right too. So there is a difference of opinion, but you need to create your argument. You need to validate your argument with some strong premises and with some strong evidence. So an argument has therefore at least two components. Now this is where I have located you. Making a point, a statement, inclination, or declaration. It means the statement, the first statement or your claim, and providing sufficient reasons or evidence for the point to be accepted by others. So, what you have learned from the argumentation, he is discussing that you have a claim and you should have sufficient evidence that can validate that claim. So, if a person says to me that if a person says to me that your now he's claiming that my friend is no more. So I need to have some evidence. So I will check from some relatives and I will ask whether that particular person is died or not. He will provide me some evidence. Then I will ask from another one, a close relative of that person, to verify, and he will also let me when the friend was died. Therefore, I conclude something that friend is actually no. Always remember, when you claim something, you need to provide some evidence, and that evidence must be supported by the literature itself. So, what we have concluded here, this is that uh, an argument has two components. The first is making a point or claim. The second is to provide sufficient evidence to be accepted by others. So these two elements are related and the movement can go either way to form the argument. So a movement from either a point to reason or from reason evidence to conclusion. You can prepare argument by any means. Like I provide I provide a claim, then I provide the evidence. Or I provide the evidence, then I conclude something. This is another way. So you can create claim with any way, but always remember that either your conclusion should come at the start line as a claim, or your conclusion come at the end to conclude whatever you want to claim there. Then what we mean by argument in our context, let me explain you. All the arguments are open to question and can be challenged. Always remember that whenever you form an argument, it may be challenged by some future researcher. For example, I have created an argument like this. This is my argument. When I formed this argument, it was year, for example, 2020. All right, there was a short interruption from my side. I am again elaborating the point. I was saying that I developed this argument in the year 2023. someone in, let's suppose, 2027, some future researcher, he can challenge my claim. Challenge does not mean that my claim was wrong. He may rectify, or he may add something in this claim. Now he will use this claim as a premise for making his own argument. Let's suppose he create a premise one where he will state my claim that according to machine 2023, financial stability is a measure of, and then premise 2, he finds, I am connected again. I don't know what is going on with the internet here, but let me point out here. So he put it premise one as my claim, and he found someone else study where he was able to find out that, however, according to John 2025, there is a difference between sustainable performance and financial stability. Now, this is premise two. Now, what we conclude, therefore, financial stability is not same as sustainable performance. Now, actually, if you are seeing, he is basically challenging my argument because he found someone study who is arguing that they are not same. Maybe Mr. John has provided something where he has proved that financial stability is different from sustainable performance. So I need to provide that evidence too. They stated that financial stability is a medium term performance measure, while sustainable finance requires a long term measure. So he has also stated the reason why this would not be called. So on the basis of it, I have the future researcher has challenged my argument. So argument can be challenged. Always remember, some future researcher may challenge, or he may disagree with your challenge, and that is a point from where you can start your research. There are many ways to conduct a research study. The first is to find some research gap. Normally, the traditional way is to done a literature review, find some research gap, and then conduct. But in the modern world, the people, what they do, they try to read the argument from different persons in the literature review section. They challenge someone's argument from the past, and then they form their own argument, and then they conduct study to prove their argument validity. Now, this is also a way of doing research, that you find someone's argument and you find some flaws, some weakness in their argument, and you think that this can be challenged, but you need some data to provide evidence that your argument is still strong than the previous one. This is the way you can also do research. So either find a research gap or challenge someone else's argument from the past to make your study valid. So there are two ways to do a research. So in case of qualitative research, normally people try to challenge the argument of different people. So all the arguments are open to question and can be challenged, regardless how complex or simple it may be. In our context, an argument consists of a conclusion. One or more claims that something is or should be the case and warrant. A warrant is likely to consist of evidence. It means premise one, premise two, from your own research or experience, or else she will draw on other evidence as reported in the literature. More specifically, a robust or healthy conclusion then is one that is sufficiently warranted by some form of evidence. So, a healthy conclusion is like this, which is supported by some evidence. So, you need to provide evidence to form your argument. For example, opinion. What is opinion? That is unwarranted conclusion. So the first line of every argument is basically an opinion. So whenever you provide some evidence in the form of warrant and you conclude those evidence, you are making an argument. Always remember. But if you are providing just an opinion, it is not considered as an argument. For example, someone asks you, which politician of your country do you like, and you state that blah 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 politician you basically like. The other person will ask you why. What is the reason? Why do you like that politician? You provide some evidence that this politician has worked for the economy. They have actually upgraded the economy. He has done a lot of for people's welfare, for jobs creation, and so on, so on. You are providing some evidences in the form of warrant, and then you conclude, therefore this person is a very good person, a very good human being, and very good soul. So that becomes an argument. If you do not provide any evidence, it will remain an opinion. That is not an argument. So the judgment read by reasoning. You should have a reason. Judgment reached by reasoning is only half of an argument. For example, you can legitimately ask of any set of claim, why should I believe this? When you point out some opinion, you must say with uh, 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 with yourself, why should I believe this? The other half of the argument is warrant, which is basically the evidence that you provide, the reason for accepting the conclusion. The rule of persuasive, believable argument are simple. For example, if valid reason are presented that logically justify the conclusion, the argument is sound. So you need to provide valid reason to justify the conclusion. If you do not have valid reasons to justify your conclusion, your argument is not sound. If the reasons are not convincing or if the logic applied fails to support the conclusion is unsound. Always remember that you need to provide logical reasoning that would convince the reader. If the reader is not convinced, it means your argument is not sound. So the argument is equal to reason, reason, and then conclusion. So reason means the premises that I was providing. It means the evidence that you need to provide to convince the reader about your argument. Then you conclude something. For example, apply above formula. Clouds are gathering. That is the reason. The barometer gauge is falling. That is the reason. And rain is forecast. That is the reason. So you are basically predicting the rain on the basis of clouds and on the basis of barometer. So you have provided some evidence. On the basis of those evidence, you can conclude something. So rain forecast is also predicted. So what you can conclude that today is a rainy day. Incomplete argument. There are some